Would you believe me when I say that this is a walking horse whale?
That's very funny, Buzz.
Meet the walrus, the chubby saber-toothed seal. The word walrus came from an Old Norse word, roshvalr, which means horse whale. At that time, it was originally depicted as a scary semi-aquatic sea monster. It is the only living species in the Odobenus genus and Odobenidae family, but it is subdivided into two subspecies, with a possible third subspecies. It was previously described as an earless seal in the Phoca genus, and was also formerly named as a tusked manatee in 1766. It is a large mammal, 13 feet long and weighing 4,400 pounds, and looks like a fat earless seal with sea lion flippers and elephant tusks. Its face is almost like a human's face. It is also an iconic aquarium show animal. The most interesting feature the walrus has are the bull's impressive whiskers and his signature large tusks, which make him look like Count Dracula. Used for pulling himself onto the ice, fighting and defending himself. Walruses also have a bite 2 times stronger than a mastiff dog that are capable of crushing clams. These unique seals inspired a Frankenstein walrus from the 2014 horror film, Tusk. This is a camel, nature's walking landboat. There was previously only 2 species of these guys. The dromedary, also called Arabian camel, and the Bactrian camel, also called domestic Bactrian camel. The wild Bactrian camel was formerly named as a Bactrian camel subspecies until it was currently known as a separate species. Camels are large, with Bactrian camels standing 7 feet tall and weighing 1,500 pounds, while others weighed a metric ton, 2,000 pounds. While dromedaries are taller, at more than 8 feet high and weighing 1,300 pounds. They all belong to the Camelus genus, which formerly included all members of the Camelidae family. The biggest difference between these guys is that one camel has a single hump while the other has a pair of humps. A camel uses its signature hump or humps to store rich fat. Even though they're mostly found in the African and Asian deserts, wild dromedaries invaded the Australian outback. They're strong enough to carry heavy loads, hence their cool nickname, the walking boats. And they're also a good animal to ride on.
Well known for its towering 20 feet height and weighing more than a ton, everybody knows that the giraffe is the world's tallest living animal. But back then, it had such a very disturbing backstory. It is sometimes depicted as a giant 20-foot tall goat with spots of a leopard and a hump of a camel, hence the nickname camelopard. As a tradition, it has been known as one species with a total of 9 subspecies. But recent researchers show that the giraffe is just one genus with more than 4 species. What's even worse is that it was originally thought to belong to the deer family, in the namesake genus, where it was said to be bigger than the biggest moose. That's awkward because its only living relative is the already awkward okapi.
Why did you name me this way?
Because, okapis were thought to belong to the horse genus. Giraffes and okapis originated from deer-like ungulates.
These are the 10 heaviest living reptiles. Number 10. Mugger crocodile weighs 352 to 992 pounds. Number 9. Leatherback turtle weighs 440 to 1,102 pounds. Number 8. American alligator weighs 440 to 1,102 pounds. Number 7. Black caiman weighs 661 to 1,102 pounds. Number 6. Tomastoma weighs 220 to 1,300 pounds. Number 5. American crocodile weighs 330 to 1,322 pounds. Number 4. Slender-snouted gharial weighs 352 to 1,499 pounds. Bronze medal number 3. Orinoco crocodile weighs 440 to 1,543 pounds. Silvery number 2. Nile crocodile weighs 551 to a ton, 2,000 pounds. Shining gold number 1. Giant saltwater crocodile weighs 881 to a metric ton, 1.1 tons or 2,200 pounds. There was a time where a Great Dane named Harvey was known as the tallest dog, but he was displaced by a Dalmatian named Gibson, who stood 108 centimeters tall and weighed 180 pounds. With Guinness World Records saying that he actually stood 107 centimeters tall. He was then dethroned by a white Great Dane named Titan. He stood 107.3 centimeters tall and weighed 190 pounds. His owner has a second Great Dane named Ari, who lost her hearing and stood 97 centimeters tall. A blue Great Dane named Giant George then surpassed Titan. He towered 110 centimeters high and weighed an astonishing 245 pounds, but was then rivaled by a more traditional record holder, the powerful Zeus. His height was nearly 5 feet off the ground, while he weighed 155 pounds and stretched almost 8 feet long. He became a famous record holder among all big pets. He was recognized as the world's tallest dog ever because Freddie stole his record for the tallest living dog. He stood almost 4 feet off the ground, weighed 196 pounds along with a length of nearly 8 feet. He was famous until 2019, when he was beaten by a second Zeus, who was different from the first Zeus who died in 2014. He was less as famous as and smaller than the first Zeus, at almost 4 feet off the ground. But then on September 12, Tuesday, 2023, he went extinct.
You might be wondering, how can an animal survive without a head? That would be scary. Well, this chicken named Miracle Mike survived 18 months without its head. A farmer named Kdaly2.0’s was killing chicken for dinner. Then he chopped off the head of a 5-month-old cock.
I lost it. Ah! Chicken! Please, chicken!
But because of a blood clot, the chicken was still alive. The chicken was walking clumsily and was trying to cluck, but only made a gurgling sound. The chicken became a success just like Smells 18 Spirit by Nirvana. Olsen then got $4,500 each month. He was fed by an eyedropper until 1947 when he choked on a kernel of corn and then died. But the success didn't stop because there were chicken annuals every May.
It's finger-licking good!
Hi there, I'm Blossom. This turtle has to be the most dangerous of all these slow shells. Alligator snapper, which looks like a dinosaur in real life. It's oftentimes considered the largest freshwater turtle, stretching 40 inches long and surpassing even 200 pounds.
Like, wow.
It looks like a beaked alligator. Its jaws can exert more than 1,000 pounds of force. The strongest jaws out of any small animal, powerful enough to cut off your finger. Isn't that scary? Its tongue looks like a worm to lure its prey. And then,
Pop goes the weasel!
in an ambush predator way. Get it?
Does this mean we have bad luck?
Probably yes. This predator has to hunt all alone. So please be careful. This is a giant tuna. It is the largest of the tunas. It usually reaches 7 feet long and weighs 250 kilograms, 551 pounds, with larger tunas reaching 10 feet long and weighing 500 kilograms, 1,100 pounds. It's possible for even larger tunas reaching 16 feet long and weighing 1,000 kilograms, 2,000 pounds.
That's a big boy right there!
It is a type of game fish and seafood. In Japan, people fillet or cut these big fishies. It's one of my favorite things to watch.
We torch it.
I just hate the fact that these big fishies are expensive. Some people mistake it as a large predatory shark because it's so big. But really, it's just a friendly fish. But not only do people like to eat giant tunas, even sharks like to eat giant tunas too. It was previously part of the Scomber genus of mackerel, until it was currently recognized as a bluefin in the genus Tunnus. In the past, it was known as a Pacific bluefin subspecies named the northern bluefin. It is also called the Atlantic bluefin tuna and was formerly named the tunny. Teeth are very important for animals.
That was a baby tooth.
And when you think about fangs, you typically think of big predators or vicious snakes. So with all of that said and done, you're probably wondering, how can a deer have vampire fangs? Well, this deer is different. Vampire deer is a word given to deer or deer-like ruminants that have large saber teeth. That includes species like the water deer and musk deer, with the former being an actual deer and the latter not being an actual deer. Even muntjacs have those so-called fangs. People like to call them deerkala. But they don't use their signature fangs to drink blood. The fangs are actually tusks used for fighting, and are omnivores, meaning that they eat both plants and animals, dead or living. In fact, the tusks actually came from deer relatives, and used their canines in a similar manner to the vampire deer. It's believed that after millions of years, a deer's signature antlers will replace canine teeth, while others still have those ancient sabers that make you want to scream. Say hello to Big Bill, the original Pigzilla. His weight transformed from 200 to a massive 2,553 pounds, with a height of 5 feet and a length of 9 feet. Meaning that he was larger than your typical domestic pig, and was also 2 times heavier than an average Angus cattle. At the time of his life, people previously and traditionally named him as the largest pig on record. until a hippo-sized porker named Rumba dethroned him. He got to a very large size because he just couldn't stop eating, which led to him being very fat and chubby. His siblings were brutally killed by their and his mother rolling over on them, which then made Big Bill a single child. But then in 1933, he met the unluckiest death of all time after he broke his leg. Instead of putting a bandage around his leg, an unforgiving A.J. Wells decided to mount Big Bill, and then turned the one-ton pork chop into a real-life statue. Wells put the hog to sleep by pouring a deadly amount of chloroform, so that Big Bill could go to bloody hell, which resulted to the most unforgivable, underserved, unfair and unluckiest death ever.